Experience hospitality the Northwest way at the Everglades Hotel. Located on the banks of the River Foyle, the Everglades Hotel is just minutes from the centre of Derry, Londonderry, with free on site guest car parking. Whether you're here for a family meal, a big celebration, or simply a peaceful retreat, will make your experience as memorable as the sights in the city. Visit Everglades Hotel Derry for accommodation bookings, the latest menus, live shows and events, and much, much more. See you there.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Gaelic Lives podcast. You're very welcome to our Thursday preview show, and we're looking ahead at a massive weekend of action in the All Ireland series on the Tailteann Cup. We're going to hear from Fermanagh manager Kieran Donnelly later on as his Fermanagh side take on Kildare in the Tailteann Cup semi-finals. But first, we're going to look ahead to the All Ireland preliminary quarter-finals, and I'm delighted to be joined by former Donegal defender Damian Diver. Damien, it's knockout time. There's four teams already out of the All Ireland series, and there's going to be an L4 this weekend. So, championship's really hotting up at this stage.
Aye, there's the time of the year now that everybody wants to be involved, and I think it's great. I think it's great the fact there's six Ulster teams left in it too. Just go show you the standard of football is up in Ulster too, which is brilliant to see. I think that's what leaves the Ulster Championship so tight that anybody can really win it. And it's you're freaking your football's well played, but then you come out of Ulster to get there.
I think we all like to sort of build up the Ulster Championship and the standard of the Ulster teams, but as you say, like six teams in the top 12 still in the race for Sam, like it just shows where Ulster football is at the minute.
Absolutely, and it's carrying on now from last year, where Ulster teams only won all the All Irelands too, and they're well on their way this year too with the twenties and so on and minors. I think it's just great to see that standard of football, and it lifts every county. When you see Cavan back in the last 16 too, and Downs there. It's just great to see the rising tide lifts all boats as we can see. So everybody's signing up to that standard in Ulster, and it overflows then into the rest of Ireland then too. And they can compete against all the big teams.
And what have you made of the championship so far, Damien? The new rules and the structure and everything. Like it's everybody's building it up as one of the best championships in a long time.
I think it's brilliant. I just said that just watching that down in Hyde Park there the last day too. Nearly one lose or draw. It's a great championship to be involved in. It's a great championship to watch as a supporter, and it is a neutral too. But like, the football's phenomenal. The speed's phenomenal. The scores. The even our game was low scoring, but it didn't feel like a low scoring game. If that makes sense. It's still exciting football. It's not like the last few years where a low scoring game, and it was just over and back and over and back and in and out and back to a goalkeeper and back to the far 60 foot, back to the far 50 and back in again. It's the whole excitement's there. There's every chance of a turnover. There's more space to play. It's just a brilliant championship. I was even the hurlers are a bit jealous of our championship this year, I think.
I think that's the big sign our football's doing well, Damien, is when it's been talked about more than the hurling. It
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
often
Aye,
happen.
100%. 100%. That's right.
Obviously we have Donegal's your invested interest, Damien, in the All Ireland Championship. So we'll start with them. They have Louth coming to town on Sunday. It's the last game I think to be played of the weekend. So home advantage, Damien, it's probably going to be something we'll touch on when we preview all the games. But it is a huge thing. Ballybuffet has been a brilliant place for Donegal under Jim McGuinness, and particularly given the last day they were there, they lost the Tyrone, you would expect Donegal to come out all guns blazing here.
Yeah, and some it's not an easy thing to carry either. That record sort of McQuill Park, and it's nice now that's sort of off the back of it too with the Tyrone loss too. So they're going in now with more relaxed into that game too. They're welcoming Louth into it, so it'll just be hell for leather. Like I can see that Donegal team hitting the ground fast, coming off the back of that confident one against Mayo too, where we ran the ball great. We I think we played great football, but we just couldn't get the ball over the bar, I suppose, and we created three or four goal chances as well too. So look at it. If them things start to come off, you know what I mean. Yeah, you could win it all right now. But Louth are coming with some serious. They're coming as Leinster championships too, Leinster champions. So like they have serious firepower up front, and especially boys coming from their half back line too can score goals.
Yeah, Louth's probably a tricky one because obviously they won Leinster and there was the big massive high of that. Then they lost a couple of group games to Down and to Monaghan. The big Clare, which you would imagine has sparked something in them again. Now it's knockout football, so it's maybe a wee bit Donegal don't really know what to expect with Louth because they know the qualities there. And now that they have a win under the belt in the All-Ireland series, they're going to come in confident.
That's right. Like, and the new rules now, you'll always do damage when you have big men, and Louth have big men in the middle, they can win first time possession, and they have forwards on the side they can score, and that's at the end of the day. And it doesn't matter what county you're from, what size of a county you're from. If you have players that can do that, then you can do damage.
And I suppose the quick turnaround, something interesting too, Damien. I think both Louth and Donegal were out on Sunday, so there's no real advantage. They both have 7 days, but it's a tough. There's a game last week, there's a game this week for the winner. There's a game the following week, and All-Ireland quarter final. So it's tough going week by week.
I know that, but as McGinnis alluded to in the few interview after the last game, that they're on the league too. They're out 5 weeks in a row, so it's nothing new. It's nothing new to that Donegal squad. And they're well accustomed to getting the recovery and the quality recovery that they need to recover substantially for that game. I think they'll not use, it'll definitely not be using an excuse anyway within the squad. And I know we might talk about it, and the media might talk about it, and the supporters might talk about it, but it'll not be using an excuse within the squad.
And thinking of the likes of Michael Murphy came in, that's coming back in and playing all these big knockout championship games, and he was fabulous again last week, and he has been since his return. But I think he's 35 now. Like, is it taking it out of his legs a wee bit this week on week championship action?
I don't know. I doubt it. Only Michael knows that, to be honest. And it's not a question I'd like to ask him either. But no, look, it's so far so good. Anyway, look, he's a Rolls Royce of a player, and look, Rolls Royces go on forever, don't they? Once they're looked after, once you keep the engine right, they'll keep going.
He's playing some stuff, isn't he, Damien, since his return? Like, he's been brilliant.
Aye, as he does just when things are anyway tight, he just says, "Give me the ball," and that's the kind of leader he is. He'll take the pressure, and he'll take the pressure off everybody else too. So he does by demanding the ball and spraying it about, too.
And what have you made of Donegal, I suppose, as a whole this year, Damien? Obviously, they had a good league campaign, Ulster champions. So is that sort of blip against Tyrone, where they were well in the game, with a couple of minutes left, and Tyrone kicked on, and then they come back, hammer Cavan, beat Mayo last week by a point, and now into the All-Ireland series. So, like, what have you made of them in terms of the whole year?
I was very impressed. Very impressed in the league. The fact that and the league probably worked out perfect for them too, where they got the points on the board early doors. And they brought a good concept in the championship. Then to come through the championship from the preliminary round wasn't easy. I suppose you have that extra game too, and you have the old foes Armagh in the final. It was always going to go down to the wire, I suppose. But I think they're probably two of the best coached teams in Ireland at the moment, and you could just see them matching each other just to the last. And it just probably did. Look, there was nothing on it. It took a wee bit of guile and a wee bit of speed from the likes of Moore near the end there. Just to give them that wee bit of a difference. And it still came down to holding the ball for 30 seconds to see you get to the hooter out. But and into the All Ireland series now, I think we'll definitely have the legs. We'll definitely have the know-how, I suppose. That's one thing that they're learning is to know how to see out games, I suppose, and that's big now when it comes to the knockout series.
Suppose the show that last week we spoke about it on our Monday podcast, Damien, that that killer instinct against Mayo because with when Mayo scored and the hooter goes, it's time to kick the ball out and take a draw and everybody shake hands and go home. But Donegal didn't do that. They went for the killer. They went on, and you mentioned Moore and those to finally done it again last week.
That's right. That's right. And probably look at it. Maybe a wee bit of naivety on Mayo's part that they didn't play the ball around for another 10 seconds and kick it over the bar, and then they're guaranteed their draw. But I suppose maybe they weren't expecting Patton to grab the ball and still kick it out. And then not only that, then to get into Donegal hands like that, like I was talking about, and sure, who do you want in the ball at that stage with space and tired men around you? Only Moore. and like the poor man was trying to chase him, was just failing away.
And you mentioned Sean Patton, his impact coming back in. He's been one of the best keepers in Ireland for whatever couple of years now. He's back in. We've seen the range of kicking he has. This you'd mentioned the speed. He's such a big part of what makes Donegal tick.
He is the quarterback, like in a way he kind of keeps the men out the field ticking there when the ball goes past the post. They can spray it right, left, down the middle. That was a big kick over the top to Darabay the last day, too. And it keeps teams honest, I suppose, if you want that. Do you know what I mean? Especially with players now playing the goalkeeper further up the field, maybe for kickouts and that kind of stuff, and cover space. Like he can put it to the other side, and he can put it beyond the goalkeeper. So all of a sudden, then the keeper's scrambling to get back and things like that too. So he keeps every team honest. But like there's some great keepers that get around now that can do that. They're chipping 50s and 65s over the bar for fun now, and they're not even there's no effort put into them at all. They're like
Um,
they're the way like Tiger Woods when he came on the scene in the golf. They have to make the fields longer for these goalkeepers now. So they will.
I do think the outfield players would thank you for that.
Yeah.
Damien, there's more space to cover. But just before we move on, Damien, I'll ask you for a prediction. Who do you see coming out on top there?
I would have to take pick Donegal. I think just their speed and traditional power, and their tackling at the back too serious. You know what I mean? And when we do dispossess, we seem to get the ball up the field very quick, and I think that'll create goal chances for us. You know, I would expect more goal chances to be created maybe by Donegal by the way their forwards are coached and the way they're creating space up front.
And moving on, then we'll go on. This is the other Sunday game down on Galway, and I think just when the teams come out of the hot, Galway, I think they could either got could have got down, or they were heading to Donegal or Kerry. So probably Galway. If they were to pick a team, they would have picked down. But the way Down's playing at the minute, Damien, like this is probably the game of the weekend. It's probably the toughest one to call.
Aye, and the Down are the most exciting team to watch. They're great. That they have unreal players, and they play off the cuff, and they just play exciting football. The serious pace, from watching the last day, and all it took was maybe a few unforced errors to back them. I mean, they got them into a wee bit of bother, and if they smooth them out, I honestly think they'll cause Galway bother. With the speed to play, if they can just keep it away from the Galway big men from kickouts and things like that. And get the ball away, get the ball away from the goalkeeper. I think they'll have another chance.
Was that just lack of experience, maybe, Damien? That sort of when the game was in the melting pot, down, maybe just haven't been in that situation before. So they're a young team. They're definitely a common team. But was that just maybe a lack of an experience, while Monaghan have experience in spades?
Well, maybe no, but in fairness, like Monaghan pressed us too in that in the Ulster Championship, and they did put pressure on when they did push rightly in the second half. They're not easy to get out through. They're strong, they're fast, and they're experienced as well too. But like, yeah, maybe we've got experience of taking into contact just maybe where you shouldn't take it into contact, and maybe trying hand passes that just were really too tight. You know what I mean? So I getting the ball out in space first. But like I still, they're once they get the power ball past the middle of the field, they're brilliant to watch.
And we spoke about Buffet and the impact Newry. Down obviously have home advantage in Newry, and I was at the Louth game a couple of weeks ago, and I know the game was delayed for 10 minutes to let all the supporters in and stuff like that. And Newry was absolutely bouncing. With Louth coming, I can expect it to be twice as mad, maybe with Galway coming. And for Down fans, Damien, it's been a while since they've had a big hitter coming to Newry. I'm not sure the last time that I had a top contender coming to Newry in the championship. So Down fans, they're certainly excited by this game and what they're seeing from their own team.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, there'll be a huge crowd there, and the marshes is a horrible place for any external team to go into. Down just they love taking them in there. And the Down supporters are just they're class, like they're brilliant too. So they are, they just remind me of sort of Donegal supporters, but that way their hearts on their sleeve, and they just love their team, and they'll go out and support them to the last.
Yeah, it's that Louth game. There's a mad atmosphere at it, so I'm hoping to get the Down and Galway game. So I'm hoping it's something similar. But I suppose just on Galway, Damien, like obviously they'd won the Connacht Championship and Mayo pushed them all the way. They come into the Ireland series and just it's probably unfair to say they haven't been playing well, but just stuttering maybe a wee bit. They obviously lost to Dublin the first day, drew against Derry in a game that they were probably outplayed for long parts of it, and then they get that win against Armagh last week. And is that the turning point in their season? Do you feel maybe that it's the win that could spark them on to maybe go on and giving Sam a real push here?
Aye, that was the key one to me, that because like Armagh didn't come down just to make up the numbers that day. Do you know what I mean? They really came down to knock another big team out of their way to go for the Ireland, really, and it was obvious. They weren't just they were through right enough, but they still weren't going to sit back on their laurels and just rest players. They wanted Galway out of the championship, and in fairness to Galway, like to miss two penalties and still come back and won it against a team like Armagh with a defence like Armagh was serious, and
No,
like I think Galway are well up there again as they are. I know they took a while to get going, but to have everybody back now, Walsh is back kicking again rightly too, so he is, and he took responsibility near the end of that game too. He's just give me the ball. He done a Mike Murphy on it. He stuck two or three class points over the bar too to keep them ticking over.
Damien Comer's probably the only one with a question mark over at the minute. I think he come on against Derry, but didn't hug out against Armagh, so we're probably not really sure where he's at the minute. But he's just another huge player to come in if he's fit this week.
Yes, that's right. I know. I don't know if he's back in or not this week, but he will be key. Like he's another man marker. Do you know what I mean? Too that takes or he takes up another man marker in the forward line too. He's strong and he's physical too, and he'll get scores.
As we said at the start of this, is maybe the game of the week. Damien, it's maybe the toughest to call, so I'll leave it with you. How do you see this one going?
I My heart was say down. I would just love. I just down. I just like down. I always like down sporters and down players. Do you know what I mean? Just the way they played the football, the way they played the game. And it's hard luck past Galway, but I still think down will be in it up until the last. I would say last 10 minutes, and maybe Galway's physicality might take them through then. But I don't know. I don't know. It'll be very very close. But I'll leave it at that. Maybe Galway by 1 or 2 points near the end. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm on board with that, Damien. I think it's going to be a really good game, really down to the wire. So, it's going to be one of those ones that will go down to the last couple of minutes, and it could be a point either way. But the final game then with Kerry and Cavan, and I suppose this was probably the toughest draw possible for Cavan. They were either going to down Dublin or way down south to Kerry. So it's a really difficult prospect for them, Damien, heading down to, I think it's in Clarny.
Aye, like even the journey alone too, that was the big dread for a lot of teams was having to travel the whole country down there to play a football match, But like to go into Kerry's backyard too is not easy. With the pedigree that Kerry has, but like sure, Cavan nothing to lose either. Do you know what I mean? Like they can go out and just play, throw off the shackles and just go at Kerry and what they're on against Mayo, so there's no reason why they can't do it against Kerry. You know.
Yeah, I think the obviously the Donegal and Tyrone. It's nearly nice for Cavan that they're not playing another Ulster team because it seems to be, we know how competitive the Ulster Championship is. So you mentioned the Mayo game, to go to Mayo and beat them in their backyard will give Cavan a wee bit of confidence that they maybe can go to Kerry and put in a big performance.
Hello.
And I suppose like it's impossible to know where Kerry are, Damien. They lost to Meath surprisingly last week, so they're missing a lot of men, but it was still a huge surprise for them to lose.
Mead have some big players that can shoot from out the dark, and that didn't suit Kerry. Kerry like to maybe to defend a wee bit deeper too, and Mead can pick you off. And in saying that, then Cavan have something similar too. Cavan have forwards they can score, and once you have that there, you have a chance. It's just about being a bit cuter maybe on the ball and just getting it to them players, and taking their chances. But like there's no reason why our Cavan couldn't be in this game for 3 quarters of the game.
suppose it's hard to know with Kerry just in terms of the All Ireland race, Damien, because they have these injuries. They're coming in that quarter final where they're possibly playing. They're going to have an Ulster team anyway. It's going to be Tyrone, Monaghan, and Armagh. I think it's most likely going to be Armagh the way everything works out. So, in terms of the All Ireland race, where do you see Kerry? I suppose when they have David Clifford, they're always in with a massive chance.
Aye, yeah. They don't like playing Ulster teams, I can only too. We can Ulster teams kind of put them under a bit of bother, they put them under a bit of pressure too, and opposed to they don't probably they probably just go at Kerry really. I can only they don't care who they are, what they are. They'll still go at them.
So I suppose just before I let you go, Damien, if you were to call one here, who do you see coming? Is it Kerry going to get the win, or do you see Cavan maybe causing another upset?
I well, I can't. I just no. I can't see Calvin causing upset. I'll say maybe Kerry. You know, I hope Calvin tries them on maybe to the last 15 minutes. But I just think you're not going to hold the likes of Clifford quiet for the full game. And he will probably maybe get a goal or two.
So that's all we have for the All Ireland series. We're now going to hear from Fermanagh manager Kieran Donnelly. He caught up with Mal McMullen this week, and we're also going to hear a word from our sponsors, Hastings Hotels. And we'll obviously be back on Monday, and we'll be reviewing all the games this weekend. I will hopefully have a few interviews from a few of the games as well. Damien, thanks very much for coming on, and I'll chat to you again soon.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Experience hospitality the Northwest way at the Everglades Hotel. Located on the banks of the River Foyle, the Everglades Hotel is just minutes from the centre of Derry, Londonderry, with free on-site guest car parking. Whether you're here for a family meal, a big celebration, or simply a peaceful retreat, we'll make your experience as memorable as the sights in the city. Visit Everglades Hotel Derry for accommodation bookings, the latest menus, live shows and events, and much, much more. See you there.
Kieran, the last time I was talking to you, you were outside the Bristol Park dressing room with zero interest in talking about Tailteann Cup. Obviously, the Down game was so hard to come to terms with. Very quickly, when did you come to terms with it? Because you had it and then you didn't.
Yeah, look, it was a tough one, Mal, no doubt. The one thing about that game, I suppose, that was able us to, bounce back pretty quickly was our level of performance that day. Look, you're very aware after it that it was a game we should have won, and we had it in our own hands. But the way the games have been going before that, and very much so after it, that I think it's plain to be seen that you can never be comfortable with any lead, and it's all about momentum, and that was very much the factor that day. But no, we just took the positives from it, Mal, and tried to build on that. We knew Down were a very good team. They have proven that in the run in the championships since that as well. So we just were very keen to take the positives from that game and to try to build into the Tailteann, and we got right back at it funny the following week. And since that, look at the thing with our camp, our lads are always easy to manage and want to play for Fermanagh. And look, we just took the good vibes from that game and the areas that we did well in, and tried to build that into our training leading into the Tailteann.
As you say, you're selling that to them like this is the next step. But was the Carlow one difficult to deal with, because that was your first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true, Matt. And again,
and you should have won it.
Yeah, and that proved, as well, probably like after maybe coming off a championship game, the next one can be your toughest, and like the Carlow game was not like I was impressed with Carlow that day. Like players like Michael Bambrick and so are good players, but they came and they played very well to Brewster, and they were up for it, and we didn't have the edge that we had going into the Down game. And when you don't have that and that focus, then you can be found out. And look, at Carlow maximised every chance that day with 2 pointers and so on. But I think it was the best thing could ever happen to us as well, to be honest. I think we regrouped very quickly. We were just frustrated with ourselves, that we didn't win the game. And and our performance levels, and it just led to a very focused group going into the next 2 or 3 games. And I think it was the making of our squad and our team, and look, we have built since that.
Is that because you feel that because you were so good for so long against Down, was it like a reality, or is that too easy to say that?
I look, it's sometimes ill, Mal.
It's probably easy to say that, but I'm just wondering what the
I
take was.
Yeah, look, at maybe sometimes as well, like the foundation of any good performance is your hard work out of possession and your high speed running out of possession and your attitude and mentality going into it. If they aren't there, then the other areas of your game won't happen. And good teams do that well and do that consistently. And that day we weren't on it. Now sometimes, like anything, we miss chances. They maximise their chances, and when you watch the game back, our performance levels weren't that bad. It was just that we still scored heavily that day, and we were happy with our attacking shape. It was just we conceded a couple of scores that we shouldn't have. So, but yeah, look at any level now. I think look at especially at county level, but any level now with the game and with the space. You can't take any team for granted, and if your basic foundation levels aren't there of being compact out of possession and working hard, then teams will beat you.
And then on the flip side of it, is that what's pleased you? Because you've obviously momentum has been your friend now. You've got results. The Sligo game was a crucial game, obviously, and he's come through it, albeit he's sort of 4 down at the stage, maybe after the goal. So he's had to go back and he's had to dig again, which he's did.
Yeah, that was the most pleasing thing about that game. Sligo were a team are rated, I suppose, very highly. I would know Tony McEntee very well, and Tony's done a great job with Sligo in his tenure, and they've competed really well in all the Connacht championships to date. Running Mayo quite close as well. So they were a team that I had utmost respect for, and mentality-wise from our team, because we're a young team, look at it's how you respond in those scenarios. So when we went 4 down, we went on a run and we got the next 9 scores. We got the next kick out after the goal, which is always a big one. So our response to that period was excellent, and even in the second half, when they come back to a point, we went on to score the next 2 to give us that 3-point cushion. Next one, 4-point cushion. Actually, I think we got again, which was a big thing. We responded well after, and you're always going to have the opposition is always going to have a period of dominance in the game, especially with the kick out format the way it is. So. But no, our game management was really the most pleasing aspect of our performance in the weekend.
And then going into Kildare, it's obviously Croke Park. You've had, at least the lads have had a recent run out there as well. What sort of an occasion was that? Like the Wexford game was like a bonus. He's got Croke Park just the way the fixtures fell. That's bound to have been great.
Brilliant, Mal. Look, it is.
Like
It's always
bonus was probably the word.
Hi, exactly. There was to get it for us, especially as a young team, and we were hoping to get back there, which we are now in the semi-final. We were aware that when the fixture come out, to get a chance to play there would be good if we got back to the semi-final. Excellent prep, because like when you go to Croke Park, it's a massive thing for any squad, and especially us that don't get playing that often. So to have that experience of going there will stand to us. And the Wexford game was a real bonus, and for us to finish top that day, the fact that Longford beat Carlow was a big result that we didn't see coming. So it was a good day all round. It was an experience that we all enjoyed, and I think the players were very, very keen to get back there again once we'd tasted it.
What is the age profile like from your oldest guy? Like, is there what would be the average?
The average of our squad, Mal, look, we have a couple of expose the Collins and Ryan
They
Lyons.
don't like being called that, do they? The older guys.
That's true. That's true. They definitely don't. And look, they have given that much service to Fermanagh over the years. Those particular players. Now they're running about like young lads at the minute, which is a testament to their effort. But those would be the 2 Collins and Decky and Ryan Lyons would be our elder statesmen, as they say, and the rest of our lads will be averaging 26. Which is a good age profile for our squad, and we've added a lot of extra players this year, all quite young as well. So, and we have to do that within Fermanagh. You just have to maximise every player that's showing that ability coming out of under 20. So look, our age profile is good. There's no doubt you need the experience too, which we have in the boys, but our age profile is definitely good.
And very final point, you're obviously facing into Kildare. What's the thoughts there?
Aye, look, it was one that, look, Kildare's the favourites, and they have been the favourites from the start of the competition. But in my eyes, at this stage, I didn't really mind who we got. You know, I knew every game was going to be a tough one. Like every semi-final team is there in merit. They're no doubt they're an excellent team. They have had a really good league. They have size all over the pitch, and that's one thing with them that. And they have a forward line, like their full forward line of Flynn and Kerwin and Sinky are all 6'2", 6'3" plus, all good players. Alex Byrne is had an excellent clubs championship as well, and then it brought that into county. So they have a forward line that as good as any in the country, you know. So and their size then just makes it that bit harder. But look, it's a challenge that we're relishing. It's the teams you want to be playing, and especially in Croke Park. So we're looking forward to it. We know it's going to be a tough task, but it's a challenge our squad are definitely relishing.
Kieran, thanks a million for your time. All the
Good
best
man,
with the
Bob.
rest of your marking and your preparation, and
Good man.
hopefully you get a couple of runs out in Croke Park.
Cheers. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that, mate.